Alright, live chart analysis tayo kay Ethereum, US dollar. So hindi tayo USDT. So we're trading against US dollar. 15-minute time frame dito sa ating broker na Pepperstone. Alright? So here, meron tayo ditong piece of information. Yan, na i-analyze natin. We always limit our analysis to maximum 200 candles kasi price tends to respect the most recent data kesa dun sa obsolete data na way past information. Like if you scroll further to the left, you might be looking at the support that is really obsolete right now and it's not relevant to the current price action anymore. So we always tend to respect the recent events. Therefore, we are anchoring and building a context doon sa most recent events. Kasi present is most important and then the recent event is the second important thing sa nakikita nating price action. Bakit? Kasi in real time, this bar represents yung decision making ng mga participants sa market. Bakit sila nag-buy at this particular high? Bakit sila nag-sell at this particular high? Bakit sila nag-buy at this particular low? Is basically based doon sa recent past data. And yun yung tinatry nating bigyan ng logical interpretation through our contextual analysis. Alright? So without further ado, let's start our analysis by counting the major flow ng market. And makita nyo dyan yung obvious highs and lows. Minarkahan na natin ng numbers 1 to 10. And I know, mayroon sa inyong magtatanong, bakit hindi ito yung number 3 and hindi ito yung number 4? And bakit hindi ito yung number 9 and number 8? So, sa pag-mark pa lang ng numbering, counting highs and lows, there's always a debate kung nasaan yung major and minor flow. But then, to make this explanation short, the obvious highs and lows belongs to the major flow, and the flow within the major flow belongs to the minor flow. So, the challenge is i-anticipate kung saan pwedeng mag-react yung price, whether doon sa major flow or doon sa minor flow. So, the counterpoints between major flow and minor flow is the most important thing and the most challenging part sa price action trader. Kasi nga, doon mo i-judge yung strength ng major and minor flows kung saan potentially magre-react yung price. Alright? So, here, as you can see, meron tayo ditong vectors, which is yung point 1 to point 2 and point 2 to point 3 and so on and so forth. So we call this one vector 1 to 2 and vector 2 to 3 because ano bang kailangan mo sa isang vector? Kailangan mo ng 2 points, which is yung point A and point B. Alright? So, katulad nga ng sinabi ko, dito sa vector 2 to 3, makikita nyo dito. What's interesting dito kasi is na-surpass niya yung low number 1. Okay? And in terms of volatility, makikita natin yung volatility ng vector 2 to 3 compared dito sa vector 1 to 2, mas dominant yung sellers dito. Kitang-kita natin yung sellers dominance dito. Therefore, this is a good area to watch kung saan magre-react yung price in the future. So, we can put our inward frequency line, which is nandito, and extended natin sa future. And makita nyo naman automatically merong reaction yung price. And kaya itong nilagyan ko ng number 10 kasi hindi pa natin alam kung ito na nga yung low or yung high ng current vector na nade-develop between 9 to 10. Yan. Ito na ba yung vector 9, 10 natin? Or dito na ba magre-reverse yung price? We need more confluences and more converging techniques and logical context to confirm that this might be the potential a reversal point. All right. So for now, we have an inward frequency and reacting yung price dito. All right. So forget about 10 muna. Just focus on the inward frequency na in-extend natin from this high number 2, which is the sellers at this high is simply saying that we are stronger than the buyers. Kasi yung buyers na nagpataas dito from high number 1, kung lalagyan natin siya dito ng 0, this is high number 0. So meron kang vector 0 to 1. Yan. Makikita mo na break ng buyers yung previous structure. Okay? So meron kang confirmed low dito na meron kang buyers na strong enough to bring the market up, surpassing high number 0. But then, nung bumalik yung price dito sa demand zone, if you're gonna draw a demand zone dito sa vector 1 to 2, may kita nyo, at least nag-react doon yung price for a while. So, nagkaroon siya ng candle wicks. This indicates a buying pressure. Pero but then, nagkaroon tayo dito ng volatility shift line kung saan nagkaroon ng explosion ng volatility to the downside, washing out yung buyers dito sa number 1. Hence, creating a more volatile vector compared dito sa vector 1 to 2. Alright? So, we can mark this one also as confirmed high. Our confirmed structure, high number 2. Ayan. And same goes dito sa number 1. This is a confirmed structure also kasi nabasag niya yung high number 0, which is yung sellers na nag-bring nitong market to the downside. Yan. Surpassing yung minor flow dito, which is outside na dun sa scope of analysis natin. So this is a confirmed low. Confirmed low. Okay. So, ngayon, dito pa lang, from the fact na meron tayong solid structure at high number 2, we might expect a reaction kung babalik man yung price dito sa level na to, which is what exactly happening right now. So, sellers na nagpababa ng price up to number 2, and the participants that saw this confirmed structure might think that this is a good area to put a sell order. Hence, meron tayo ditong reaction ng sellers and the fact that this is a fractal bar. Alright? So, we want to measure yung strength ng minor buyers. Bakit minor buyers? Kasi, may kita nyo dito from vector 1 to 2, ilang candles lang yung kinailangan ng price para kinailangan ng sellers para pababain yung price. Yan. We are now comparing the relative volatility katulad ng ginagawa natin dito sa vector 1 to 2 in comparison dito sa vector 2 to 3. Okay? In vector 1 to 2, halos meron silang similar candle pero yung explosion ng volatility is mas evident dito sa vector 2 to 3. Now, we want to compare the relative volatility nitong vector 2 to 3 and the succeeding vectors. So, first observation na makikita natin, para makabalik yung price at this level, at the inward frequency line, yan. By the way, which is also the dynamic, nabubulol pa ako, dynamic frequency breakout. Yan. Dynamic frequency breakout. Makikita nyo dito yung candle wicks from low number 1. Yan. All the way to high number 2, hindi na-break yung candle wick. This candle is the first violation doon sa napaka-organized behavior. Kasi kung titignan nyo yung fractals ng vector 2, 1 to 2, may kita nyo, price is creating higher high and higher low exclusively. Meron ditong expanding pivot at a lower time frame, pero yung buyers are keep pounding the price to the upside. And until na-break itong napaka-organized behavior na to ng ating isang outside bar, which is completely engulfing dun sa previous candle natin, which is yung candle number 2, with a good, very defined body indicating selling strength. And makita nyo yun, uh, yun yung unang break ng pattern na to. So, yung candle wicks, na-surpass na niya yung candle wicks, hence the name dynamic frequency breakout. And right after nung bumalik yung price doon, tinest yung dynamic frequency, o hindi na nga na-touch yung dynamic frequency breakout. Another outside bar comes, or most commonly known as engulfing candle, which completely engulfs the previous candle. And doon na bumulusok yung price. Alright? So, kung mapapansin nyo rin, this is a dynamic support and resistance, which is this is the last resistance and then was being tested as a support. It did not touch 0, 0, but it's within the neighborhood. So sometimes close enough is more than enough. Right? So, doon nagre-react ngayon yung price. And may kita nyo kung paano nag-struggle yung price at kinailangan niya ng ilang candles. From this low, and up to this, kinailangan niya ng 85 bars or 85 candles. Whereas, ito yung vector 3 to 10. Whereas yung vector 2 to 3, ang kinailangan niya lang ay yan, 27 bars or 27 candles. So may kita nyo dito, sellers are reacting doon sa inward frequency line and dynamic frequency breakout natin once more. Okay? And that is our context to prove na meron tayong sellers and sellers are reacting. And may kita nyo dito yung reaction ng price. There is a good separation from this line. So at one point in time, yung price is nandito and yung nag-close siya, nandito na siya. This is a good separation from the inward frequency line, indicating the sellers are still on this area or there's still some sellers at this area. And may kita nyo dito, the previous candle was arranging a bullish candle, which we can identify or interpret an exhaustion move ng buyers. Exhaustion candle. Bakit exhaustion candle? Kasi we can interpret this one as a final push or a final attempt ng buyers to surpass high number 2 but failed short nung nagkaroon ng inside bar, and this is also a fractal bar, by the way, na nag-stop ng advance ng buyer. So this is like the buyers going on a high velocity, high volatile candle, move to the upside with the attempt na isurpass yung high number 2, but then ayun, meron nga tayong sellers blocking this area or they are not willing to give this area to the buyers. Yan. So, kay dyan sila nagpakita ulit. So, we have a fractal candle and also an inside bar. So, we will call this candle a hybrid bar. And in terms of exhaustion, so we can measure that one by our reliable pitchfork, because pitchfork measures the exhaustion ng move ng particular energy. Because, yan, since time moves through times and space, it cannot violate the physical laws. And in classical mechanics, we have Newtonian's laws of motions. So, and meron din tayo ditong conservation law na ina-adapt. Kasi, ano bang sabi dun sa conservation law? Nothing is being created or destroyed. Everything is being transformed. So if you have potential energy, it will be converted soon to kinetic energy, and therefore, yung kinetic energy mag-accumulate ng potential energy. So in terms of trading, we have the buyers spending their energy while the sellers is accumulating their energy. So once napagod na si buyers, well, guess what? Ang mag-step up naman is si sellers. So the tool we have to measure the exhaustion of energy is our very reliable and most powerful Andrews pitchfork. Okay? So we need to anchor yung kanyang anchor points sa alternating highs and lows. So here we can, or even here, it's a good no. Number five is what I chose because meron tayo ditong explosion ng volatility to the upside, and makita nyo dito, this is a pressure zone from the buyers. Bakit pressure zone? Makita nyo yung candle wicks na yan. These are all buying pressure, indicating na yung buyers had enough with the sellers na hindi na nila pinapayagan yung sellers to go below this zone. So we might extend this one to the future. This is a good place that we can anticipate the buyer's reaction. And makita nyo naman dito, it correlates doon sa lower parallel ng ating pitchfork. And in terms of pitchfork, makita natin dito, we have a price failing to touch the upper parallel. So, anong ibig sabihin yan? Anong pwedeng suggestion ng price na yan? We might be looking at Hagopian's rule. Anong sinasabi ng Hagopian's rule? That failing to touch any of the significant lines ng median line natin will create a violent reaction to the opposite side. And this might be the start of the violent reaction dito sa hybrid bar. Kasi katulad nga sinabi ko, meron tayo ditong inward frequency with a good separation from that line. So meaning we have indeed sellers looking at this area. Okay? And potentially, kung yan, kung i-maximize natin yung candle natin to let's say 200 candles, yan, up to here, we have 170 bars. So this is still pasok na pasok doon sa maximum 200 candle limit natin. And if you're gonna anchor this pitchfork, i-extend natin doon sa pinaka-low, makikita nyo naman yung validation dito ng ating pitchfork catching frequency tails along the way. So, dito makikita nyo, price is in tune sa ating pitchfork kasi nga price is validating yung median line natin. And it is still failing to touch the upper parallel ng ating pitchfork. Or if you're gonna move this CP bot to number 3, makikita nyo, price respects doon sa lower parallel. This is the kind of validation you want to see doon sa inyong pitchfork to confirm kung yung pitchfork nyo ba is in tune with price action. Alright? So we have the pitchfork confirming that this might be an exhaustion move or this might create an Hagopian's rule. And we have a price returning to the confirmed high and failing to surpass high number 2 with a good separation dito sa ating inward frequency line. And we have a fractal bar and a hybrid bar confirming the turning point nitong or yung flow shift, potential flow shift nitong chart na ina-analyze natin. And we have an exhaustion move, this exhaustion candle that might represent yung final push ng buyers. So our context and our line works is agreeing with each other. So notice, bago ako mag-drawing ng any line works, we build a logical context. That is how you will do the validation of your lines. Well, it's not about the lines themselves, but it's about why we drew certain lines at certain places. Paulit-ulit ko yung sinasabi sa mga past videos ko sa ating post sa Facebook group and sa Twitter account and doon sa ating GC sa ating Facebook. Kasi yun yung tumatak na sinabi sa akin ni Ed, which is yung creator ng ating fractal flow strategy na pinafollow, na there's a time and a place kung saan maglalagay ka ng lines. Kasi napakaraming areas na pwede kang mag-start na mag-draw ng lines. But then, ang tanong doon, is that line relevant? Paano magiging meaningful lines yung lines natin kapag nilagyan nyo ng context? That's the answer to that. Once yung price mo has a meaningful anchor point kung bakit dun mo siya nilagay and yung reason mo behind kung bakit dun mo siya nilagay will give that line a meaning. Therefore, it becomes a meaningful line. It's not a random lines, whereas completely different dun sa mga ating pattern traders na makita ng particular patterns, double tops, double bottoms, head and shoulders, flags, triangles. Whereas meron na silang predefined pattern in mind and pag na-recognize nila yon, pwede na silang mag-drawing ng lines nila. Dito sa strategy natin, we look for meaningful interpretation or meaningful context or logical context bago tayo mag-anchor ng lines. Okay, sa dami ng dinaldal ko, if this is the reversal point, syempre, doon tayo maglalagay ng ating position. Okay? So, we have placed a limit order or dito sa second touch ng ating inward frequency line or dito sa dynamic frequency breakout after nitong outside bar. Kasi katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, right after nitong pullback doon sa inward frequency line, nagkaroon tayo ng outside bar and it breaks the dynamic frequency also. So doon tayo naglagay ng ating order. Doon nakita natin to na merong selling pressure at this candle. And nung nag-retrace yung price doon na na-trigger yung limit order natin. Stop loss would be very logical. We have a confirmed structure. That means we are counting on the sellers at this high to prevent our stop loss on being triggered. Kapag mali, well then, mali yung interpretation natin. That's how the trading works. Diba? Kung mali tayo, we will be risking only this much. And I am willing to risk this much, which is 5 ticks. Hindi siya 5 ticks. Which is itong red zone na to. Compared doon sa ating logical target. Bakit logical yung ating target? Kasi we have a frequency line coming out from the pressure zone. May kita nyo, ilang touches yung tinetest nitong line na to or ilang validation from price yung meron tong line na to. So this is a multi-pivot line kasi at this time kapag yung price is bumabagsak dito sa line na to, it goes up, touch sa line, goes up, touch a 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 line, goes up, and then creating high number 10. So if there's an area where the buyers might show up again, this is a good candidate. So dito tayo kumuha ng take profit and we have a 1-to-6 risk reward ratio. And this is a really good trade kung makukuha natin yung target natin. Kasi we have a small percentage of risk compared dito sa large headroom natin for profit. And of course, we can measure that one also by Andrews pitchfork. Makikita nyo yung validation dito. From number 2 up to dun sa outside bar, makikita nyo yung frequency is in tuned within the price. And meron tayo ditong perfect intersection, which is a good area na pwede nating gamitin as our target. Or we have our median line, which is yung center line ng ating pitchfork, as our dynamic target. So we will see if price, kung anong gagawin niya, if ever man makarating siya dito. We might close our position here, or we might manage our stop loss kapag nagkaroon tayo ng minor structure. I-risk collapse natin para wala tayong risk, and hahayaan na lang natin siyang tumuloy until matouch niya yung median line. Or else, kapag binasag niya, doon siya pwede sa lower parallel. Kasi 80% of the time, statistically, sinasabi ng pitchfork natin, kapag ang price is nag-zone through dito sa median line with conviction, it might test the next line, which is yung lower parallel. So, we will observe kung anong gagawin ng price dito. We might get a dynamic target up to the lower parallel, or kung magkakakita tayo dito ng good separation from the pressure zone, we might close our position. So, yun is kung makakarating nga yung price dito. If ma-stop out tayo, this is a trade that is worth the risk kasi meron tayong context which is logical to me and was confirmed by our techniques and line works. All right? So that's it for this video, and we'll see how this trade will plays out. All right. So as you can see, our target is successfully hit, and in-adjust lang natin siya dito sa lower frequency. And now, saan nagland yung price? Price landed exactly dito sa ating median line. Re-retest siya ngayon. So, 80% of the time, it will reach the median line. And pagdating dito sa median line, it's either it will attract and repel price, it will consolidate, it will bounce from here. And if this median line gets violated, 80% of the time, it will go to the next line, which is the lower parallel, which correlates dito sa ating reaction line na hindi ko pinakita noong unang earlier. Anong klase yan? Earlier, nung unang ginawa ko yung video. So, saan galing tong reaction line natin? So, we have here our action line, which is from the inward frequency line, dynamic frequency breakout, and itong thin dash line is yung from this high to this low, and then following Newton's third law of motion, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. We extrapolated that line to the downside, giving us the reaction line. So this is the action and reaction space na meron sa Newton's third law of motion, which correlates dito sa ating lower parallel if the price will gonna break this low with conviction. So we might see price coming to this one, but it doesn't matter anymore to us because we already hit our target. And as you can see, number 3 is a fake low, and we still have 2 minutes to see if price will gonna close this one. If price will gonna close below this one, that means the weak support that we have on this pressure zone. Kasi bakit weak support siya? Buyers from low number 3 and number 5 tried to surpass high number 2, but it failed to do so. So tama yung ating analysis na number 10 is a reversal point. Okay, given the fact na meron tayong logical context and it was confirmed by our lines and techniques. So this is a 1 to 4 risk reward ratio trade, and masaya na tayo dyan. And we'll see kung anong gagawin ng price now that it is reacting here sa median line. Alright? So I hope may natutunan kayo on this video. See you on next video.